Let go, let God, and you have to get uncomfortable to get comfortable. You know, I remember when I first came in the program and I'd gotten out of rehab and I was probably about 30 days, 28 days sober. I got sober in Long Island and LICR in the Hamptons. At the time, I was living in Washington Heights, and I had two roommates that used to drink. I mean, you talk about insanity. I lived with a roommate who I worked with, and then he had a friend that lived right down the block, and he didn't have any furniture. So he would pretty much eat my food, party all night, bring chicks back, and make noise, and I would have to get up at work in the morning. It was crazy where I was living. But as alcoholics, we don't realize the environment we're living in, right? We just care about partying and drinking, and we don't look at this until I got sober, and I was like, what the heck am I doing, you know? But I think back that I had a fear of living on my own. Like, I always lived with roommates, even when I lived in Long Island. So anyway, I get out of rehab, and my friends asked me to go out. Now, at that time, I had surrendered. I had called myself an alcoholic, even though at the time before, when I was in rehab, I wasn't calling myself an alcoholic. I didn't think my life was unmanageable until it was a spiritual Sunday where I did finally surrender. I'm not going to talk about that right now. It's for another day. But, and, you know, I was getting my hand up in meetings. I was leading the meetings instead of sitting in the back. And I was listening. You know, they told me to get a sponsor. They told me to get a commitment. They told me to get a home group. You know, I listened to that. So I get out, and it was on a Friday night, and my roommates had asked me to go out. Now, at the time, my dad was in the program. So I took the program with a grain of salt. I knew it worked. My parents were very close to divorce when I was younger. And they had asked me to go out, and I had said, it wasn't hard for me to say, no, I'm not going to go out. But after they left, I remember thinking to myself and sitting there watching TV, how am I never, ever going to drink again the rest of my life, right? We think that as alcoholics. We think when we start entering this program, right, all this fear comes upon us, right? All this anxiety comes upon us as alcoholics. Like, all this pressure comes upon us. And I was definitely probably craving a drink at that point. But I said to myself, wait a second. I just got out of rehab. Let me think about what they said. And I do believe in God, and I got on my hands and knees. And that night, I got on my hands and knees and said, God, just get me through this night. Because as we say, the program is a day at a time. And I got on my hands and knees and said, just get me through this night. And that night was tough to get through. But if you can get through this day and this night right now, it's just 8 o'clock in Long Island, New York. Say to yourself, maybe I'll drink tomorrow, but I'm not going to drink tonight. And that's what I said. And then I had happy feet. I got up the next morning, and I remember what they said, get to a meeting. And I got to a meeting. And I got my hand up, and I shared about the experience I had the night before. And it says in our literature there was an experience Bill W. how he had this spiritual experience also in the big book. And he wasn't much of a religious person. I wasn't a religious person, like I said. So anyway, yeah, that was the beginning. And I kept going to meetings, and I got a sponsor, I got a commitment, I got a home group, and I started doing service. And I keep doing that. If I can't get to a meeting, I stay connected. I just got off the phone with my sponsor. I couldn't get to a meeting today. I might get her on a meeting, I'll probably get her on a meeting on Zoom tonight. Thank God for Zoom. People want to put down Zoom. You know, I've had many health issues. I had IVIG treatment today. I didn't really want to go, but I did complete 2 weeks of my IVIG treatment. I have a rare autoimmune disease. It is really rough, but I completed 2 weeks. I wasn't going to go. I was going to cancel, but then I took a shower and I said, let me do it. So now I'm free for 2 weeks, which is good. I'm planning on speaking at a meeting hopefully this week if I feel okay. And let go, let God, you know, the third step for me. I can't control this autoimmune disease. This is God's world, not mine. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. I try to suit up and show up. I suited up and showed up at this appointment today. I was there for 4 or 5 hours. You know, I said, let me drop a video tonight, starting the Sober channel, which I'm really excited about. We got some surprises coming up. I'm going to try to do some lives coming up when I start to feel better this, maybe this upcoming week. But don't drink for today, people. And keep going. God bless.